Cueist just got a nerf again, and of course it is available now in the advanced server. Well, not advanced server, in normal servers, global servers here as we can see instead of test server, so I had to wait until today to make this video. But let's get in towards the nerfs then, shall we? Okay, for the first nerf of Cueist, it's based on his contact points. So basically, the further away you place the contact points away from you, the longer the animation it takes for it to generate. So initially speaking, the closer you place it towards you, it's now 0.9 seconds, and the further away you place it away from you, it can go up to a maximum of 1.17 seconds. But basically speaking, right, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of difference in time, but usually I would say sometimes, yes, there would be a small kind of notice when you throw down a ball and then you try to hit, and it's a bit slower compared to before. So that's Cueist's first nerf. The next nerf from Cueist is actually his contact point. So charging time for a contact point right now is 12 seconds instead of 11 seconds. So it takes 1 extra second for you to actually get one of your other contact points before you can actually get in, with a cue ball or anything else in general. So contact points has been increased by 1 second. As we increase our presence to max here, for this guy's, I would say this is probably his biggest nerf. They've actually removed the ability to reduce the contact point's cooldown when reaching max presence. So contact point right now has the same cooldown as it was before when there was 0 presence overall. The cue ball has also received a nerf as well. So basically we have reduced the cue ball's range by 15%. There will be a side-to-side comparison right now for you to actually see, but the difference is actually quite huge here, and survivors are definitely going to be able to easier dodge these cue balls. And of course, directly move on towards our second nerf on cue ball. The cooldown has actually been increased to 18 seconds instead of 15 seconds. So that's a whole 3-second increase on that cooldown duration. The very last part about Cueist's nerf is actually his kinetic ball when it goes around the rocket chair. So this also has been slightly increased as well, and they basically increased this twice. Before we were able to deploy a cue ball down, and cue ball was able to run back and forth between the chair for one whole loop, so back and forth once. This time, let's see, you go through it once, you go through it twice, and then it kind of just disappears immediately. But to be fair with you, this is quite a short cue ball, so we will make a bit of a longer one, just like the one we have done in Moonlit River Park. Let's try this again, excuse me. So I'm gonna put this one over here, and then I'm gonna put this one over here. This is a bit longer, very similar to the one we did in Moonlit for the first video. That's one iteration, and basically speaking, right, if you do it too long, as you can see there, it's just like one line and then half a line. So basically speaking, at max the cue ball can only hit your chair once. So that is actually quite a big nerf if you're not good enough with the usage of that cue ball. You see there as well, right? This cue ball didn't even reach the chair for the second time and already disappeared. And of course, this is his second nerf. Let's now look at his optimization. So from this point onwards, you can actually click off the video because it's just all optimizations, and I'll just run through this just so we can reach the 8 to 10 minute mark. The first one is we've optimized the size of display for Maxwell's Demon, so this one, and of course for getting off it as well. So we basically made this effect a little bit better and a little bit easier to see, and that's his first optimization. For his second optimization, we've actually kind of adjusted his sensitivity when we capture survivors within cue ball form. So what this means is if we just go towards a survivor here first and we capture them with the cue ball, what it means is that when we capture the survivors and we recast our ability again, the sensitivity of this has been slightly modified, just so then you can instant tap it to force the survivor down. That was kind of one of the issues before with Cueist, where it was a little bit buggy. In our settings, of course, as well, these are the few optimizations that we have added. The first one is the vertical charge sensitivity has been added for contact points. We've also added a vertical charge sensitivity for backspin. We've also done a vertical sensitivity charge for the cue ball. So this is when no survivors are captured, and it only applies if no survivors are captured as well. And these are the 3 optimizations they've added in towards the settings mode. The next part is kind of a mini buff in this sense, where we reduce the volume of sound for cue ball movement. So the cue ball sound here will be a slightly quieter, but I don't think it really matters that much, especially with the fact that I'm quite sure survivors should be able to see this cue ball unless it's behind a wall overall. But if there is a line, survivors usually would know to actually get away from it. So I don't know whether or not this is kind of useful or not, but I guess we still have it, so it's one of the nicer things to have. We've also optimized the motion for Maxwell's demon. So I'm assuming this is when you hop from one to another. Let me just give it a try. When you hop from one to another, this is slightly optimized, so it's easier for you to do. That's basically what I'm assuming here, what they mean by this, in all honesty. We've also optimized the logic for movement speed unique actions in public maps, such as allowing actions to be interrupted by movement in public maps. This is just for public maps where he gets in towards his he gets in towards his own cue ball form with the Maxwell demons, and when he gets off it, you see how he has a fast movement speed, right? So this basically just means that if we change his movement from running to walking, this will be fully cancelled instantly. So this is just a public map update. However, this is all of the experience improvements from the side of Cueist, and of course the nerfs as well that he will be receiving today in test server that will be released today as well. Do leave your comment down in the section below so I can kind of read around a little bit, but personally speaking, I'll make another video later on as well just talking about this type of adjustment. But with this moving on forward, I would say, right, I don't really think survivors can kind of complain too much about Cueist anymore, especially after all these nerfs and of course the optimization made from the devs as well. However, this is going to be the end of the video. Hopefully everyone enjoyed, and of course I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good day, good night, ladies and gentlemen.